everyone! Today may be the most controversial episode on the channel in terms of conclusion, but we are talking about a unit that is quite contradictory in itself. This is a Ukrainian armored personnel carrier, the BTR-4, the Bucephalus. The BTR-4 was born in Kharkiv at the Malyshev plant, and in addition to being put into service, had an extremely controversial history, including an export scandal with two suppliers, Iraq and Kazakhstan. Nothing there have grown together as follows. The Iraqi military, who received a batch of 88 Ukrainian armored personnel carriers, the BTR-4, was able to start only 56 vehicles, but only 34 of them were able to drive. This is stated in the letter sent to Ukroboronprom by the former head of the company Ukrospets Export, Kovalenko, dated 28 July of 2014. Kazakhstan, on the other hand, having received the prototype, refused to accept and purchase it. The cause of all of these problems was poor quality production of engines and hulls, which is probably due to good old corruption. This was a quite long time ago, back in 2014. However, combat-ready samples from foreign and Ukrainian components were introduced in 2017 for the domestic market. They supplied more than 100 armored personnel carriers, which to this day take part in combat operations, although the losses amount to 71 units. Nevertheless, let's take a closer look at this vehicle. They needed to replace the outdated BTR-80 and other Soviet vehicles, and here they acted quite competent. The frontal part of the armor can hold 14.5mm rounds, and the sides can hold the 50 caliber machine gun. And I must say, most of these have factory-installed anti-heat cages, and these are the fasteners that serve this purpose. This particular example isn't in the best condition. Some critics compare the Bucephalus with the Boomerang, a next-generation Russian armored personnel carrier. But a Boomerang has one big problem: it doesn't exist. And of course, I haven't seen one on the battlefield. Therefore, it is correct to make an adequate comparison with the BTR-82. As you can see, our machines have assault troop doors here. In fact, it is clear that this has been altered. The doors are missing. And at the back, there is a door for passengers, which is located together with the part of the ammunition. And it seems to me that this is probably much more convenient. Well, in general, for this we would like, of course, to test the Boomerang. Still, for now, we are comparing it with the 82. But even though it looks similar to 82, the Ukrainian military changed everything else here. As you can see, the engine is located in the middle, or as we call it, the mid-engine layout, if we speak about the vehicle in general. The crew, which is 3 men, is in the front, and 7 to 9 infantrymen depending on the vehicle. The deployment itself takes place through these rear ramps, which is certainly much more convenient and much more better than through cramped side holes. But the most important thing in this vehicle is the combat module, and this brings this machine to an infantry fighting vehicle level. Combat module here is called a sail. It's controlled from the inside, just like in every modern combat vehicle. That is, the tower is unmanned. The 30mm cannon, an actual analog of the 2A72, also has an automatic grenade launcher like the AGS-17. Here it is called the KBA-117, a 7.62mm machine gun with 2,000 rounds of ammunition comes standard. What distinguishes it favorably from other combat modules is the anti-tank barrier missile. It's a range of 5 kilometers and armor penetration of 800mm. And by the way, there are other combat modules, and one of them includes 2 23mm cannons. However, the sail is the most common and goes into the BTR-4E variant. Seems kinda bulky, but it saves a significant amount of space inside, in fact, because it allows for both extra ammo and additional troops. The combat weight of the vehicle has increased to 20 tons with all the bars and modules, and the latest modification can be as heavy as 26 tons, but at the same time, this heavy motherfucker can withstand a 30mm autocannon fire. We have some kind of thermal sleeve up here. These are the smoke grenades that allow it to go away in a smoke screen, and the place for installing the anti-tank missiles. This seems to be a sighting module. Yep. It's just like an unboxing video. And over here is an armored box for sights and scopes. Here is RF3183A1F. RF, of course, is not for the Russian Federation. It shows that many parts here are foreign supplied. And well, as I understand, some of them are American, and in general, like, foreign stuff. Although it's kind of difficult to talk about Ukrainian as of something foreign for me. However, in our time, in this time, Ukraine is becoming an increasingly foreign state for us. The question is that some foreign things like NLAW or Javelin missile need some extra stuff on them, like batteries or extra blocks that you can't find, like the Javelin CLU, a fucking rarity. And it reminds me of the District 9, the movie where aliens have control of their alien weapons, and they can shoot them, of course, but in the hands of the human, the weapon doesn't fire. So, in general, let's see today whether this thing will shoot in the hands of this person or not. Three main powertrain options are available: Ukrainian 3T engine, an Italian Iveco, or German Deutz. Serial machines are equipped with 8.15 liters 3-cylinder diesel engine 3TD3. This allows it to develop a maximum speed of 110 kilometers on highways and 60 kilometers over the rough terrain. And I must say, it is quite convenient to climb it here. Everything is written in Ukrainian. Here is the control module. This is the same combat module that is in the back. There are two ways of controlling the combat module. So, it can be controlled by the navigator, or whatever this person is called. I think this person is called the gunner. And it can be controlled inside the cabin. And honestly, I don't know how to switch the thing around. The cost of such a BTR-4 Bucephalus is $2 million. And I must say, it also serves as a base for evac, reconnaissance vehicles, and other technical equipment that are in very high demand at the front lines right now. What is quite remarkable for us Russians is that there is an automatic transmission. There are only two pedals. This is the acceleration pedal and the brake pedal, and is as convenient as possible. Bucephalus, I must say, fascinates. Of course, the person who was driving our armored personnel carriers, and I have already said that the conclusions here will be ambiguous, because some things, of course, foreign-made are better. But we are waiting for the development of our new vehicle. Slaver should cover these windows with armored plates and leave only triplexes. I don't know here if this module is now turned on or not. But there's a vent port here, and of course a radio station equipment. As I understand, the fan is working here. And everything is connected with the lighting of the shield in these fuse modules. This thing is responsible for pumping up the wheels. As you understand, although they have more or less ballistic protection, but if you break them, then this thing turns on and, well, you can generally move on. We have a differential lock, the steering wheel is quite Soviet, like on our Urals or their Grazis. Of course, there are two fuel tanks, the left and the right. Well, the dashboard, everything is quite simple. Yes, you have the engine oil, the coolant temperature, the dashboard lighting, the float speed. Yes, this armored personnel carrier floats. There is also some part here with the fuses, and the hydraulic system of the float has been destroyed. Of course, who the fuck needs the float system in the 21st century? And of course, in short, everything here is in foreign language. Well, shut it. Let's go to the control module. Let's dive deep into our luxury apartments. As you can see, there are reclining chairs that look quite Soviet-like. There are extra triplexes for the crew to observe the battlefield. By the way, some of them, for obvious reasons, are damaged. First aid kit here, so if suddenly someone will catch a flu or something. And the ammo, the 30mm high explosive fragmentation shells. Let's count. 2, 1, 2, 3, 7. 7 infantrymen. The insides are very spacious. And you can dive deep inside here. And these are the fuel tanks, or these are the batteries. Not bad. Comfortable, spacious, and luxurious. And this is the combat control module here. Everything is on the screen, the gun is uninhabited. The whole mechanism literally spins above you. These are the so-called crabs, which hold the 30mm shells, and the tape, and the ammunition, everything else. And well, in fact, the Chiburashka, how we call it, is the same as on our armored vehicles, on some of them. For everything to work, you need to close all of the hatches. What I personally like about this vehicle is that it has 3 cylinders and is very quiet. And compared to our BTR-82, which there are 8 cylinders and is quite noisy. But I hope that our developers will take care of this, so to speak. The control module is here, and the PKT, and the 30mm cannon. And by the way, surprisingly, there is also such a squeaky noise. And you see, there is a target on which I will try to work today. This is an old BMP-1. The controls are quite good, they are very convenient, just like on your Sony PlayStation. See those mechanisms above me? This one here, you drive it very slowly and it moves very slow. And if you jerk it fast, it will spin much more faster. Does it spin 360? I wouldn't do that, of course. And look, it shows your ammo. Yep, the HE frag and the armor-piercing tracer. And of course the machine gun. The boxes to the left, I must say, are not made very conveniently. And in short, when you open it, the ammunition is stored here like this. The ammunition that is probably stored here belongs to the AGS grenade launcher. And here for the machine gun. And the 30mm shells are stored in the rear part. Here I can see the control module that you might switch to. You might switch here. You see, I spin it. This one is the vertical, and this one is horizontal. You may go the mechanical way, when the main combat module is damaged. Well, of course you have to understand, if the 30mm autocannon will shoot at this BTR-4, of course it will come to an end very fast. The frontal part should withstand a 14.5mm round, and the side should hold you from the 50 caliber machine gun. The screen of the control module itself is in English, as you can see.
Английском. Heat, brightness, input, video in, menu, power, by.
Of course, it will be much more difficult to do if you are a fairly weighty person, but in general, Russian tankers, for example, can easily cope with this task. And now I've crawled over and I've managed to get here, and now I can too control the turret. I just have to press those buttons and do bam bam, but first we'll go for a little test drive. So, a little test drive. That's okay. Feels like there's still a first speed.
Как будто он на первой едет только. Что-то со скоростью так себе, честно говоря.
The first disadvantage that I found here is that this armored personnel carrier is extremely slow on the rough terrain. This is the maximum speed it can afford. On our Russian vehicles, I will be flying like hell, but it's the only speed I can afford here right now. This is purely an urban assault vehicle that is not survivable for warfare in the fields under any circumstances. Here you see I'm flooring it. That's all. That is the maximum speed. "20 kilometers per hour is a lackluster." That is all, my friends. I thought I would be flying high. Once again, I'm flooring it. I'm switching from L to D to L again. That's all. Here you can see it was hit probably by the 7.62 or the 50 caliber machine gun, but the armored glass held it. These things, I don't know what they are made for, they are rubberized or something like that. In my opinion, probably so not to hit some armored vehicles that will stand in front of the BTR-4. A lot of advantages, but the main disadvantage is the number of cylinders and the power output of these cylinders. Although the 500 horsepower is a lot, and in general is a lot more than any other Soviet or Russian armored personnel carrier, but I mean, I just don't see and I don't feel any thrust. As a matter of fact, this disadvantage, I don't know, through the trenches or something like that, you will not do it, you will actually be shot at the point-blank range. As I said, it holds a 14.5mm and 50 caliber machine gun, and if you're on this vehicle and you're going to have a very strong army standing against you, and there will be enough RPG to take your vehicle apart, all these modules are going to fall apart like the cans with American inscriptions on them. And well, that's good for some people and that's sad for others. This vehicle, this boy, is designed for an urban assault unit and nothing more. And now let's go to the old BMP-1 over there, and I'm going to take a couple of shots and I'm going to do it with the sail control module and actually see what kind of damage is it going to do. So, everything is on the cross, I point with Cheburashka. Let's see, the 2mm goes first. You'll see the switch here, the PKT, the 30mm and the grenade launcher. We are ready. Let's go. It lowers a bit, so let's take a little bit higher. To the right and a bit lower. That was on point. It went a lot higher this time. And now we're going to check one more thing. I want to look from this point of view how the AGS grenade launcher and the PKT machine gun will work on its target. A little targeting. Oh no, that's an AGS working. It bursts really strange. Well, in any case, observe.
Он странно разрывается как. Ну, короче, смотри, да.
It's an AGS working, and it detonates just near the BMP. And the BMP is a little sad. Sure, it became sad a long time ago, long before me. Nevertheless, the 30mm shell gets the job done. Looks like the penetrating round. Through this metal block, we made a little burst fire with VOG-17 grenades. And take a look, many of them didn't burst at all. They look like this. 1, 2... And I thought, very strange. Remember, right? I had this feeling that they didn't burst. And well, I was right. Didn't burst at all. And this is not the only one. There are a lot of them. Something isn't right with this BMP. Maybe she eats poorly or something else. But I was talking about earlier. This BMP hadn't had a sweet life, you know. You may see some unruptured ammunition here. A 30mm round, of course, penetrates this BMP-1. And I want to say that this control module is quite convenient, but you have to get used to it, of course. Well, you see the part of the ring tore off, that is would be the first hit, and that would be enough for the rings to merge with the tracks themselves. Ambiguous conclusions we have today. Bucephalus is an excellent machine for urban assault battles. That is, infantry support, assaulting buildings, it's a great thing, you know. It's quiet, it's squat, and is comfortable enough, and naturally there is a lot of space in it to store troops and all that. Its main drawback, however, is that it has 3 cylinders, and I mean, it barely rides off-road. That's why, in the flat field with little snow, and I mean it barely runs, come on guys. I am at the first speed, I can't accelerate to the second speed, and it sucks.